you stopped teaching?
Yeah.
Whereas you were like in school.
Yeah. I'm doing my master's
In early childhood? Or
in parent and family ed.
Cool.
So I'm excited. So thank you for letting me do this. I have, okay, I'm gonna have to pass. Andy, will you pass it down? So we'll look at that. Before we start, the top one is just resources for holiday toys and meals. So if you guys don't celebrate any particular holidays right now, please just know that Valerie and I, we're just trying to, if anybody does, or if you have any family, friends, or anything that are in need of support for getting meals, and there's great resources for teens too. So that's always families that are, there's a lot of resources out there for things for kids at an early childhood through like early elementary age, but there's not a lot of resources for teens. So if you happen to know a family, friend, or somebody that would be in need of those resources. So yeah. Okay. So we are talking about rhyming. We have our learning targets. So my goal for you guys is that you will be able to identify why rhyming is important for your kids, and 2 strategies for supporting your children in learning how to rhyme. So we kind of talked about this the other week, and you guys talked about strategies of how you guys are helping your kids right now learn how to rhyme. But do you guys remember when you first learned about rhyming at all? Do you guys remember that at all, or remember how at all? If it sounds familiar, or just kind of one of those things that you feel like one time I know I learned that, but just kind of.
I remember learning, I had to memorize a poem in second grade.
Oh.
So I probably already knew about rhyming before then, but I remember, I don't remember what poem it was, but I remember it being
I was
a big
hoping
deal.
you could still recite it.
Like the purpose of the poem was specifically to help with rhyming. Okay, great, good. So we talked about this last week, but I know you guys know that we're talking about rhyming to help reading. So specifically about phonics. So some of you that have your older kids who are already in school, or some kids right now that we have in our early childhood classroom. So the foundation for reading for them right now, we're laying the foundation of really specifically listening everything that they can hear. So we're talking about phonics and them being able to just really hone in to the sounds and words. That's what we're really wanting them to focus on, and just being noticeable of that. And then them being able to say those sounds, say those words back to us. So those are the big things that we're focusing on. And let me know anytime you guys have questions. So phonics, do you guys know about phonics? Yeah, a little bit. So that letters and sounds have a relationship together, so that's kind of like the big phonics idea. And so it's all about that link between what we hear, what we can read, what we can say, what we can write. And so then with us talking about rhyming is a strategy for children to be able to eventually, it's going to help them be able to read. So it starts with, Holly, I remember you mentioned last week about the word family. So Riley being able to notice, so him seeing that at and cat and mat. So it starts to build on word family. So if our children right now, if we can help them rhyme, like our rhyme song that we did in circle time, if they can start to notice the ending sounds being the same, word families are easier for them to identify once they start reading, and so it just becomes more fluent. So the big goal when our kids start reading is that they're going to understand what they read. That's our big goal for reading. So the little goal to get to the big goal is for them to be able to do it with accuracy and with fluency. And so we don't want them to be stumbling over what they said. So for example, if they're reading a book, in the book it says, there are 2 frogs sitting on a log. The frogs like to eat bugs for lunch. And the teacher or you would ask them, oh, do you guys know what the frogs like to eat for lunch? But if our child is sitting there and they're struggling over frog, chances are if they're struggling over frog, they're also going to struggle over log. So if we can help them start to being able to identify that sounds are similar in other words, they're going to be able to read a lot more fluently. So they're not struggling. So my child then is already caught up so much on reading frog and log. They're spending so much time sounding that out. By the time they get through those 2 sentences, the chances of them remembering what they read are highly unlikely. So them to be able to just fluently move through something that they read so that when we do talk about it after, they can remember something they read. Okay, so like in our song, so it's the ending sound. So when you guys talk about rhyming at home, the ending sound, they sound the same at the end. So really focusing on that when we're singing our songs, you guys are doing your stories or anything, they sound the same at the end. Do you guys have any, can I hear your ideas again for what you guys are doing for rhyming at home? You have any specific ones or favorite songs? I know some of the kiddos downstairs have favorite songs that they like or favorite stories that have rhyming, rhythmical, lyrical.
We sing the same one. They sound the same at the end.
Oh, okay.
My older one learned it in preschool.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. Nice.
We always sing it.
So it catches on for them, and then especially, yeah, if they have another sibling or a friend that has a song that they tend to take to as well.
I need to do a better job of being more explicit about it, because like we read like a lot of Dr. Seuss books, or we've been reading Horton Hatches an Egg, and Micah like he can quote almost the whole stinking book, and it's so much rhyming.
Mm-hmm.
And we have talked about it more in the last couple of weeks, even this morning. He still gets the like beginning sound and the ending sound mixed up, like what rhyming means.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so he notices he's very attuned to like similar sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about that. But this is good.
Yay.
Kind of be more. I like how the chant for the names was really explicit about the beginning sound versus the ending sound.
Yay. And as long as, yeah, it's like they're noticing something. So it's like, even if you're not getting that, oh, it's the ending sound yet, but they're noticing something about the sounds of the words or the sounds of the letters. That's what we're wanting to hone in on now. So if we can start honing in on that now, we'll be able, by the time they get to kindergarten, they're going to be able to recognize, oh, it's those two sounds that are the same.
Alice, so I'll be doing a nursery rhyme, or I'll be reading the book with her that she's really familiar with, and she'll just she'll fill in the last word of the sentence, and it often rhymes. I don't think she knows that that's rhyming.
Yeah.
But I guess I could talk to her about that being a rhyme.
Yeah.
Because the word, I can't think of an example right now. But yeah,
Definitely.
she'll rhyme. She'll fill in the word at the end.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely, and like a lot of our songs, like Pickety Pickety Bumblebee, it's a rhyming song, and the kids could fill it in. Like if we started to sing it, they'd be able to fill it in. But yes, so now we're totally just being super intentional about saying this is a rhyme. Those sound the same at the end. They rhyme. So yeah.
I always make it a point when I'm driving to play a game with the kids, so then we're like, what rhymes with cat? And then the whole way they're thinking of, things that rhyme and stuff, besides the songs. But my problem is that Riley has a speech problem. So it's like, even though I'm teaching him these words, he's not repeating it, or if he is, he can't recognize it.
Yeah,
But,
no.
we're starting speech next week, so I'm hoping that maybe this will help along with
Yeah.
speech class.
Definitely, and right now, and the fact that he's trying is huge, because it's like we know he's hearing those similar sounds, so he's trying to echo them back to you. So that's great that you're able to hone in on this is something, orally that's not connecting, but he is cognitively processing that those are similar sounds and trying to mimic back to you.
Yep.
So, yay.
My girls love I'll use the mom, banana, we do that all the time, and they like to find a rhyming word, a real rhyming word, like we have a Uncle Matt, so I think it's a bat in his, so that's a fun one. The real word.
Yeah. Yay. Okay, perfect. You guys are on it. I made this. So this is going to be different than some of the songs. So kind of like what I talked to, this is kind of like our experimental class. So the songs I'm doing with you guys are a little bit different than the songs I'm doing in some of my other classes. And I'm really honing in on rhyming for these ones. So we did the sound of our name this morning. And then the what is that song called? The Annabelle Fofama.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, would you know
the
the
name?
I don't know. Yeah.
Like the name game, or
It must be the name game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Willoughby Wallaby, have you guys heard this one?
sang that this morning.
Yeah. So Willoughby Wallaby, Wiley, an elephant sat on, and we'll have them try and say Riley, or match it with another name. So similar to the name song. Take a seat is something I'm gonna try and implement next week instead of like, so it'll be like our song to transition to our floor song, or find a spot, but it's just take a seat, take a load off your feet, take a seat, and a little bit quieter. So we're also trying to rhyme, but also just being them starting to pay attention to the volume of their voice. And then we have these 2 rhymes. So we did that one. So we'll do that one every week. So we'll do that one every week, and we'll do new words. But that's a great one at home too. That that you guys talked about, that you guys already do. That's just quick like that, and just really explicitly saying these 2 rhyme. On the back, I put the game. So kind of like what you guys already talked about. So using I Spy. So whenever, it's like just a good way to be intentional about the time, like in the car, when you're on the walk, or on the bus. So using I Spy is something, and then having them try to. And so that is a step up. So for somebody about Aiden, Nico, that's a step up for them being able to intentionally say a rhyme back. That's a step up. So right now for infants, kind of like what I talked about last week, we're really just making sure that they are noticing us. They're noticing when we're talking to them. Their head is turning to us. Their eyes are being able to connect with the speaker. And then for toddlers, them just being able to mimic back. So about 2.5, 3, I would say, we're hoping that they can start to process being able to say it right back to you. And then the final step is them all on their own, being able to come up with their own 2 words that rhyme. But yeah, but just so you guys know that them being able, so if you're playing I Spy in the car and you say tree, and you're asking your young toddler to come up with a rhyme on their own, that one's probably a step up for them. I would give them a rhyme, and then you guys can say it back and forth. So we talked about all songs and stories and games. We're getting close on time. I wanted to show you guys some resources. So I found, so the New York Public Library just has really awesome stuff. So I pulled a little thing from them. But I don't know how many, I've heard some of you, I don't know if any of you are avid library goers. I love our library system. We have awesome libraries. So I don't know how much you've explored their websites, but this is, so they have resources. St. Paul has a little bit more just on their website, resources for early childhood age kids. So St. Paul has a really nice little handout of a lot of variety of books. I don't know if any of you guys live in St. Paul or not. I live in St. Paul, and I was able to, they're all connected is what they said. When I tried to get a library card in Hennepin County, they said, and it might have just been this person maybe just didn't know the system as well, but she told me, oh, but this will only work here. But when I got my library card in St. Paul, they said, oh no, this will connect with Hennepin and Ramsey County libraries. So if you guys, yeah, okay, sounds good. Yep. So if you guys haven't explored St. Paul libraries, they have great resources too. And so in the St. Paul one, there are specific, they've got theirs all categorized kind of by content matter, but there are great rhythm and rhyme storybooks in there. And then this one that has 3 pages is from Hennepin County. So they've got a great list of different rhyming books. If you guys haven't checked any of these out, these are very cool. And then I also just kind of wanted to show you, have you guys heard of Common Sense Media at all? Yeah? Okay.
I did really good early childhood stuff.
Yeah, okay, so
they're like middle school.
yeah, so I'll show you. Okay, so this website is really cool. So I'm definitely, personally, I'm an avid pusher of physical books and you guys singing on your own and stuff. But our kids are so media based right now. And so this is not the best webpage of this. So Common Sense Media is this great site that can really help you if you're looking for just a way to help determine, is this website or is this app educational for my child? Is this appropriate for my child? So it's so cool. So if you go to Parent Concerns, you can scroll down. Ooh. Oops. They have lots of different, how much TV time is okay for children under age 2 kind of thing. a lot of just different kind of frequently asked questions that are very appropriate for early childhood years. So if you come in here, you can scroll down, and so they have all kinds of common questions that a lot of parents have about this age group and, you know, being on our smartphones and our tablets and everything. So technology is awesome. There's so many awesome ways to use it, you know, and this is just kind of a great guide of what's appropriate and then like how much is appropriate. And so if you're looking for new things for your tablet, if we go back to the start here, if you're looking for things, let's say with like our apps. So you go to the age thing right here, and we're gonna say 2 to age 5. You scroll through here, and we'll say apps. And you click go, and they are gonna filter for you all these apps for that age.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you can go down, you scroll down over here on the left, so you can choose, you know, like free to try or paid or free, but we're gonna say education, and we're gonna say language and reading. So this will give you just a bunch of different apps to browse through, and if you're looking for something really specific, and then what's, you know, content-wise, like what are you looking for your child? And so,
And if the app is there, the media tool's there, does that mean they've reviewed it and like they're recommending it?
You know
or
what?
is it just like
there's also on
list.
here, I think there's also, they have, and I think there's also something that says through here, parents recommend. So yes, okay, so if you browse by parents recommended, that'll say what specifically parents have recommended on here, but yes, Common Sense has gone through and already reviewed all of these, and they have a separate filter for parents that are saying, I really like this one. I know Common Sense Media didn't give it a high rating, but this worked great for my family kind of thing. So yeah, so that's a pretty cool tool if you guys haven't used that. And then just, yeah, I think I had, and then if you guys are all members of the library, there is this cool thing, which I haven't tried yet, but I'm excited to try, called Beanstack. Have you guys heard of that? Okay, so Beanstack is, how did I hyperlink that? So it's this book tracker, and if you go on to the Hennepin County Library site, and you're looking for early learning, it is a resource that you can sign up and it's free, and so you start to check out books that your child likes, and it will help track them. So like if Riley or Lola happen to be really interested in construction, it'll start to track that, you guys are interested here, and then it starts to, you have reading rewards too, so I'm not sure if the library then possibly gives books away for families that have, you know, read X amount of books and you've been moving through this, but it kind of helps, and then it gives you suggestions too, like, your family looks like you've been reading a lot of dinosaur books. Have you heard about this new book from this new author? So, yeah, so Beanstack, and it's on the Hennepin County Library site for early learning. Yeah. Do you guys have any questions about anything?
I have a resources.
no.
Well, I have a general question about reading. Alice really likes these simple reading series, like Caillou and Daniel and Barbie. Unfortunately, Barbie.
No, those are the worst. aren't
But
they?
even the ones that are like Daniel and Caillou, I don't think they're very, they're meant to be educational, but they're really simple. They don't have words that are very complicated, and they're very gender stereotyped. And, but she really likes, she'll get out like 10 of them. Dora,
Yeah.
Doc McStuffin, I love Doc McStuffin, actually, they're awesome. But I'm trying to figure out what I can do. Is there something about the series that she likes, I think? So I'm trying to figure out what I could do to replace that.
I'm sure it's probably partially that. I'm sure all those books in that particular series also are very media based. So I'm sure she's seeing those characters
Right.
and those stories, you know, in other places besides just those books, you know. So if you think of all the ways that like the media is honing in on just images that, like Frozen, for example. Like, oh my goodness, you couldn't go to Cub or Target or anywhere without seeing Frozen stuff. Like, it's just all in your face. So that's not unusual at all that kids would then be like, I wanna read this book, I wanna read that book. My suggestion would be so when she chooses a book to read, is that usually her go-to? Yeah. Okay. And then are you guys reading more of those ones than other ones? Would you probably say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
When we've got a ton of good books in
Yeah.
the house and she's been ignoring them.
Yeah. I would start to make a deal with her. Like, I choose a book, you choose a book.
Right.
So read 2 books. Yep. And so then you always choosing something that's drastically out of that realm.
Okay.
To just get her to explore more and just to kind of remind, so sometimes kids totally forget when they do start to fixate on just kind of this one specific area, whether it be a toy or an article of clothing or books.
Right.
They can only, it's like their world all of a sudden shrinks up into that book. And forgetting completely about, what else is out there. So yeah, so I would try I choose a book, you choose a book every time you guys read.
Okay.
So making sure that there's
In the
a
library
balance.
too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yep. I choose a book.
6.
Yes. So if you guys are choosing, like, if she gets to check out 6 books, you're also choosing 6 books that you guys bring home. So you guys have 12 books of definite different takes. Yeah.
Because they love that, picking out their own books,
Mhm.
Right. Well, she knows that I like to disappear some of her books.
Right.
Oh, yeah, but
And
too.
mine
She just
is-
goes for anything with a pink,
Anything sparkly.
pink
Yeah.
cover, it's like,
Yeah.
So she knows. So I try to disappear books, or like put
yeah.
put my
I do
toxic
too.
stuff in first before Barbie. So I do a little bit of that, but I think that choosing one, I choose one, she chooses one, I think that's a good.
Yeah, and that's great to be like critically thinking about like what our kids are reading and really being intentional, like thinking about are they always seeing the same types of looking people doing the same types of things,
Right.
doing the same all that so if we can really think about diversifying in any type of way what our kids are being exposed to through books is a great way, because that's something fortunately that we have like the ability to control over that. So I can choose that we're going to read this book now, so you got to choose one, I got to choose one. So yeah, so it's a really fascinating thing to think about. And I was trying to remind parents too about, so when kids start to say, so it's interesting when they start to like a certain thing or they start to dislike things about themselves, that comes at an early age, and then we start to wonder, so why is my child not liking my curly hair? Is your child seeing in multiple places other children that possibly look like them, other children that are doing things that your family is doing, so that we can build all of that self-esteem right now, so we're not backtracking earlier, which is so much harder to do.
early.
It's
And
so
it's
early.
so early, and the messages, especially like the gender, just stereotypes, right?
Yeah.
Men or
Yeah.
not just gender, all of the like.
Yeah.
Even when you don't teach it at home
Yeah.
at all, it's amazing.
Yeah. We've taken some books just, like there was a book that Micah really liked, and I just really didn't like how the like kids interacted, and I forget exactly what it was, but I kind of talked to him about it. I said, we're not gonna read this book anymore because.
Yeah, we talk about it too.
But it's so pervasive, like,
Right.
and then there's other stuff that he just likes that I dislike, and
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah, I think the most like obnoxious ones you could just disappear and forget about it. But I think that there are a lot of ones that she wants to be able to choose. So.
That she's really already
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
invested in.
Yeah, and I think that's great too. Like if you're feeling comfortable and confident enough to have that conversation, do it, and like you'll know what's the way to be appropriate with your child about it. So yeah, so saying, and I think it's important for our children to know too why don't you dislike this book, Mom? So sometimes I think that kids forget that grown-ups too have specific feelings and likes and dislikes and preferences towards things, because right now they're so egocentric. So it's really interesting for them to all of a sudden hear, Mom, you don't like that book, you don't like the way those people are acting, because it's just we do so much talking about them and about their play and their interactions with other people that we don't realize that we're not constantly having that verbal communication about ourselves and our interactions for them with other people we have. So yeah, for them to hear that, it was cool. Okay, well we have to get back downstairs, so thank you guys.
Miss Stephanie, can we get a couple of photocopies?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes.
Can you remind me what the holiday schedule is and when the semester ends and?
Yes, so we are going to be going on break. We have Minneapolis Public Schools, if you have big kids in our schools too, we have 2 full weeks of winter break. So we will be going on break starting the week of the 19th through January 3rd. New Year's Day is January 2nd on a Monday.
But
So
the
then-
semester doesn't end until later in January,
Semester
is
does
that
not
right?
end until
But
the
is the sign up, like?
sign up is at the end of this month. Yes.
Okay.
So Valerie and I will let you know as soon as I think it's the week that we go on break. Sign up comes in.
No, ECFE.
Yep, for next semester.
I wanna make sure that it's class again, I don't wanna miss any sign.